Natalie met with Beyond Stillness 12 times to articulate and publicly share this story of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope. This interview was recorded during their final meeting together. To learn more about our programs, services, or to sponsor a guest on their story crafting journey, please visit www.beyondstillness.org. Today, we welcome guest Natalie Shao to share her story that begins with a surprise diagnosis just weeks before college and unfolds across 2 decades of life-altering transitions. From the shock of discovering a cerebral AVM at 17 to navigating the aftermath of brain surgery, hemiparesis, and epilepsy, Natalie's journey is one of heartbreak, resilience, and self-discovery. Join us as Natalie reflects on the emotional tools, hard-won insights, and quiet triumphs that have carried her through, from regaining independence to mentoring fellow survivors, and how she now draws on those lessons to face each new chapter with courage and purpose. Thank you for joining us for Part 2, Natalie Shao's interview.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
Hello and welcome to Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke. Stroke offers a powerful, life-changing shift in perspective. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. Beyond Stillness offers a moment of pause for storytelling and reflection. Ultimately, we cultivate a welcoming environment that reveres the moment beyond stroke's paralysis. Still moments unite humanity and divinity. I'm your host, Molly Bucola. As we begin today, we take a moment of pause to honor the way that wisdom has emerged through recovery. And we give thanks. Now, Natalie's interview. Natalie, thanks for devoting so much time and emotion and energy and wisdom to your piece.
Oh, thank you very much, Molly.
Yeah. At 17, you were a driven student athlete on your way to college, and then everything changed. And looking back, even before you had words for it, where did you notice your signs of resilience?
People can think of resilience as tough. Sometimes people think of it as being able to bounce back. So in my experience, I saw toughness when I started to play sports. So when I started to play tennis, I would just play with my friend on the weekend. I would have us run drills. Like, the coach wasn't making us run drills. We weren't even on a tennis team.
Yeah.
I would just make her and me run drills. So I just had a lot of self-discipline from the start. And then when I was a gymnast and I wanted to start competing, my parents said, okay, well, you have to get a paper route, which was not necessary. I don't know why they made me do that, but I got a paper route at about 65 pounds. I was trudging through the snow at like 6:30 in the morning when it was pitch black, and I still had to go to school just so I could compete as a gymnast. I don't ever feel like in my life that I had to bounce back from anything. And I was reflecting on it because everything that I wanted, I worked hard for and I got it. So the only time I had to bounce back was when I started procedures to shrink the AVM while I was a freshman in college. And we just kept doing them. So I think I was resilient in the fact that I finished my freshman year without falling apart.
Yeah, yeah. And at that point, did you know anyone who had had a stroke?
No, definitely not. I did not know anyone
Mm.
who had any kind of medical condition.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Not even their parents or family members had medical conditions. I was the first one.
So there was no example for you. So no wonder you look back to your athletic experience and working as a kid. That for you was your toolbox of resilience.
Yeah.
Yeah. On your harder days, what helps you reconnect with that strength and that resilience?
On the harder days, sometimes I just have to hit the reset button because I'm drained and there's nothing I can really do to bring it back except to take a nap.
Mhm.
And that often works. I have to let myself off the hook sometimes to be able to do that. The thing that brings me back to my sense of self and reconnecting to just who I really am is to remind myself of my values,
Mm.
um, self-discipline, hard work, and taking care of my loved ones. I need to take care of myself and reconnect with that sense of strength so I don't fall into any kind of like deep sadness or depression and I'm not able to be there for my family or my spouse.
Huh. So working towards a goal or connecting with someone else, that's your barometer on how you're doing.
That, yes, provides me with my sense of self-worth.
Mm-hmm. How you're contributing.
Yeah. hmm Whether it's a job or volunteering or with loved ones.
And you volunteer a lot. Will you talk to us about some of the things that you do within the stroke community? I admire all the ways that you offer your skills.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I volunteer at Shirley Ryan as a peer mentor. I feel really lucky to be one because it's hard to get into the program, I would say. But my colleagues and I have a wide range of challenges. Some have had amputations, some have LVADs, and then spinal cord injuries, strokes. We run the gamut. So I mentor patients who have sustained a stroke, and I talk with them in their hospital room oftentimes, sometimes virtually, and just tell them my story and then try to connect with them, just inspire them, motivate them, and talk with them about how I integrated back into society because some people, they just don't see how they will ever be able to get back to living what they define as a normal life.
Hmm.
And then I volunteer with Cornell in New York by doing some research with them that was recent and that was tied into stroke, which gave me great insight, even just to take to being a peer mentor. So I'm doing some unpaid research as well.
Huh.
Mhm.
And what inspired you to sign up to be a mentor originally?
Since I was a patient at Shirley Ryan, I knew I wanted to volunteer at Shirley Ryan, and I just started working on one of the units and transporting patients or helping to clean the mats after sessions. And I really liked being at the hospital, but I didn't feel like it was utilizing my skills. I honestly, I do not remember the exact moment when I heard about it or saw it, but I came across it on their website and then talked with the volunteer coordinator about it. And then, even though I knew it was a lengthy process, I started with interviews with two different people, coordinator of the program and a manager of the life center. And as soon as I interviewed with them, I just knew that I wanted to be a peer mentor because discussing my story came so naturally.
Wow. I love that you just showed up at the hospital and you're like, what can I do here? I want to volunteer here. You're cleaning mats. And then
Yeah.
gradually you found your space.
Yeah. I just wanted to be there. And then I realized I needed to connect with patients in order to really be there and really show up.
Yeah. Well, and there's something about just being there. I like that you took the step to say, I just want to volunteer in whatever way. And there's something about getting up and going to a space and contributing and saying hi to the same people each day. And then taking a next step when we're ready for the next step or when we see a next step into that direction. Yeah.
It's quite the process, and it can be a little unnerving at times when you get to the part where the program coordinator is shadowing you, but you just have to get through that little awkward phase.
Yeah. That's so important for the people that you're serving that you are prepared. And how do you separate your own emotional processing from theirs? I'm sure that there are instances that you connect with their experience.
Yeah, it's hard, and everyone develops their own technique, but even to be a peer mentor, we need to already be in a state of mind and place in our timeline where we've processed our medical trauma, and that's determined when we interview. When I do mentor and a patient becomes, say, emotional, it's only natural that I'm going to connect with them and feel those emotions. But when I have to reach into what I call my thinking brain and think about what experience, what knowledge I have that I can pull from in order to make them feel better, then that helps me step away from what I call my emotional brain. So to be a mentor, you have to be able to have one foot in your emotional brain and one foot in your thinking brain.
Huh.
And that is what helps me process my emotions that I'm feeling when I'm mentoring a patient who is extremely emotional and say does not even know how to process their feelings at all.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. It's such a raw experience to walk into a hospital, a rehabilitation hospital room
Hmm.
where someone's just at the very, very beginning. And a lot of times the emotional journey is forgotten. So having a mentor program or a therapist or someone to acknowledge the emotional part of the journey is so important. And you're offering that.
Yes, and we always tell patients that all questions are on the table. They can ask us anything, and that's where it can get emotional for us because
Yeah.
we're never really sure what they're going to ask. But again, when you have to think about the response and the right wording, because we're also trained to stay away from certain words, there's just a lot that goes through my mind when a patient asks a question or gets emotional. So I'm usually able to answer the question without getting too emotional. But I think it's okay if you show a little emotion because patients need to know that we are human. That's why we're
Yeah.
there, us to connect with them.
Absolutely. How has mentoring other stroke survivors changed how you see your own journey or even your vision looking forward?
Mm. Well, it's changed my overall life journey in I know how talented I am at connecting with people. Like you said, it's hard to go into a hospital room where a patient is and you don't even know that patient. And you go in and you speak about very personal things, and you need to be comfortable and make them feel comfortable. So I just have a lot more confidence now in meeting people even just in everyday life, and connecting with it.
Hmm.
And it's something that I want to now. I'm not sure what yet, but I want to do something with that. I just need some time to figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, you are doing something with it, but maybe it's at this phase that's like when you were cleaning mats. Maybe you're really close to it, and all of a sudden one day you're going to be like, oh, that's it. That's the next step.
Yeah, exactly.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you. We dug into you as a mentor, but your story was about navigating transitions. And in your story, you spoke about managing life. And then later you switched your wording to really living life rather than managing life. Was there a moment that helped you step into living life?
When I started to get into adaptive sports, which tapped back into that athlete in me,
Mm.
and then also became involved in the peer mentor program, which allowed me to be more social. That's when I felt more that I was living life, because I felt like I was more in control of my life versus just managing what had been given to me. I was actually picking what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Control. You have this innate drive in you. You are such a dedicated worker. Throughout this whole process, Natalie, you are so thoughtful and choose your words very wisely, and you take whatever the challenge is at hand and devote your whole self to it. So it makes sense that if you don't have somewhere to devote that effort and that drive, it could feel unwavering. And
Yeah.
having a specific goal like mentoring or having a specific goal in adaptive sports is somewhere to address that. And not only do you see the vision ahead, but you work every single day toward that vision. It's very powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, it can be a catch-22. Sometimes you can push it a little too hard. There's something called emotional fatigue or something. And some days I know maybe that I've mentored too many patients because I maybe just spoken with too many people, or sometimes have so much empathy for someone that I cannot get them off my mind.
Oh,
And for a week or two, it's just all that I can think about. So luckily, as peer mentors, we do receive trainings with hospital psychologists that helps us process all of the emotions that can come up and build up as we mentor, which is good for people that throw all they have against the wall.
yeah. Oh, therapists are so helpful in that process. Yeah. What do you do for yourself to re-energize? You mentioned earlier taking a nap is really helpful, a reset. What
Mhm.
else can you do to help emotionally, physically?
Mhm. Just being outside in nature would help me reset.
Yeah.
And now, since I'm in New York City and I don't have a garden and I'm trying to find what's really going to take the place of that, I put on comedy.
Like what?
That helps me reset, like stand-up comedians, yeah. The power of laughter,
Mhm.
because I have a really loud laugh. I got that from my grandmother,
Thank you,
and
Grandma.
dead. I got it from her, and I love my laugh because it's loud and it spreads, sometimes 2 rooms down, where my husband is like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm laughing." It's not the power of the audience's laughter, it's the power of my laughter, which
Uh,
is hard to explain, it may not make sense, but it is powerful.
yeah. What else do you love about yourself?
I love my drive, ability to connect with almost anybody, I would say, whether it's just someone that I'm passing on the street or my doorman. And one time when I was waitressing, I remember just doing my job. And then when I went to go clean up the table after the gentleman was done, he had left a note that said, "Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. I really needed a smile today." And I framed it just because
Ah,
it meant so much. And I've just kept it forever. You can just impact people in a way that you would never expect. And I like that I carry that around with me.
you probably never saw that man again, and he has no idea where you are in the world.
Yeah.
That little piece was a huge piece for you. And it's so amazing to think about your life and like who has something framed
Woo!
that you gave them, whether it be physically or maybe framed in their memory of some way that you connected with them and gave them something that motivates them on tough days. And that's the power of connection that you're talking about. You can connect with anybody. And I totally see that. I've seen that throughout the past few months with you and I, but also in the stories told, what Jordan has said about you. And it's clearly something that makes you shine in and makes you unique because we all connect with people so uniquely.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Laughter, drive, and connection. Sounds like those are all things that you were probably born with, and now they've assisted you through recovery as well.
Yeah, I don't know about the connection part because I guess I didn't like to share my toys in preschool. I recently found a letter from a preschool teacher to my parents, and I think the word tantrum was in there like 15 times. So that shows the drive, maybe, but
Yeah.
with the connection,
Natalie, you've sat beside a lot of people in recovery, and I'm wondering if you sat beside yourself, what kind of encouragement or perspective would you want to offer?
I would tell myself to work harder because I was in such deep depression and I wasn't doing my home exercise programs at all. At all. I would just ask myself, do you know that you're doing everything you can right now?
Hmm.
Like, was I throwing a pity party or was I actually doing everything that I could? Because I don't think I was doing everything I could actually be doing.
Hmm. Yeah. And what if you were sitting by you right now? What encouragement or perspective would you offer yourself now? We are often way harder on ourselves.
I would just tell myself to keep going and then I'm doing a good job. Keep transitioning to this nation's largest city where I'm building a new support network and trying to find new hobbies and navigate a really tough city. So, not everyone at the end of your day is going to say, "Great job. You did a good job today." Maybe every night we just need to say it to ourselves like, "I did a good job today. I'm tired. It's
Yeah.
tough, but I did a good job." So I just tell myself to keep going right now and that I'll eventually get back to that part where I feel like I'm living life and not managing because I've kind of had to step back into managing life since it was such a big move.
Mm, mm. We go through phases in life and just giving ourselves grace, thinking, okay, I'll get back to living life. But right now I'm managing, and that's
Yep.
okay. I'm doing all I can right now. Good job today. Break it down into little pieces. And tomorrow, we'll take tomorrow as it comes.
Exactly. That's exactly what I have to do. If I fall on the sidewalk coming home from Broadway or a cool bar on the Upper East Side, which I have taken a couple of dives, I just have to go home and process those emotions and then learn what I can from it. Like, how did that happen? How could I not do that again? And just take it forward and try not to let it happen. And then just tell myself tomorrow's another day.
Yeah. And sometimes we just want to push past it and go forward. But having the courage to ask ourselves that question, how did it happen and what could be better about the situation? If we are in a moment that we're emotionally stable, to ask ourselves that question.
I was just speaking with a colleague about this. When things like that happen, any kind of accident, we first blame ourselves. How could I have done that? How could I have missed that or dropped that? Even though it could have nothing to do with you at all. So self-compassion definitely comes back into play. Ruminating about something that I feel like I've done wrong, it's an automatic trigger to be self-compassion. Or when I feel like they're raking me over the coals, I have to give myself extra self-compassion because I have to make up for them making me feel bad just as much as I'm making me feel bad about myself. I just stay really in tune to my emotions.
Yeah. It's clear that you're very articulate in talking about the way that emotions arise and naming them and expressing the process that you go through to get there and also to get away from said emotion. And that is definitely a gift, especially as you're mentoring other people. So
yes, therapy has helped with that. So I'm blessed in that sense.
Yeah. Natalie, thank you for taking so much time throughout the months. You've devoted a lot of reflection and writing as a way to offer it to others. So thank you for sharing with me, and thank you for sharing with our listeners, and thank you for sharing with the people that you mentor and your neighbors. You have a lot going on in your life right now, so your neighbors too, and all the ways that you offer yourself and your gifts to other people.
You're welcome, Molly. Thanks for sticking with me. And it's been long months because of the moving process and being patient with me and being an inspiration, getting me to realize that I really like to write. So maybe that's something I'll take up.
Storytelling empowers us to share our experiences in a way that invites others to reflect on their own. In closing, we offer a reflection question, an opportunity to spark dialogue with yourself, friends, family, or fellow stroke survivors. In a moment, I'll read our community conversation prompt. You can also find it written in the episode description. What helps you shift from managing life to living life? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Join the conversation on Instagram or Facebook at Stories After Stroke.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org. Another way to support is to like, share, or subscribe to our weekly show.
Thank you for listening to Part 2, Natalie Shao's interview. For the full story, please listen to Part 1, Natalie Shao's story. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. Natalie reminds us that with the right tools, even life's most difficult transitions can become pathways to strength, healing, and purpose. Remember, as part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, subscribe, or leave a review to help others find our stories too. To support more stroke survivors in articulating and sharing their journeys, please consider donating to Beyond Stillness Stories After Stroke.